Good evening and welcome to this session of the Port Commission meeting, June 17, 2025, report of Cascade Locks. We will start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Lorraine,
I am here.
Vice President is excused. Commissioner Nats,
Here.
Commissioner Peterson,
Here.
Commissioner Dodd.
Here. All righty, modifications, additions, and changes to the agenda.
None this evening.
All right, fantastic. Consent agenda. Approval of minutes for commission meeting from May 20th, 2025, ratification of bills, the amount of $461,575.81. Approval of payroll for May 19th, 2025 in the amount of $38,888.77, and for June 4th, 2025 in the amount of $41,522. And a second, thank you. The motion second to approve the consent agenda as stated. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Public comments. As there is no one else besides David in the audience, I will ask the
Matt's with you.
TV audience.
And
Matt wants to make a comment.
Matt's with David.
He's with David. Okay, then he probably does. All right. All righty. Okay, number one, special presentations and reports by outside resources, staff, and government officials. Bridge of the Gods update, David McCurry.
Yeah, thank you. And
Matt, out in TV land.
Oh, excellent, thank you.
And they have a copy too. So.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna give a regular update. I'll just start by mentioning we also have Matt Tipton on the phone. And we'll have Matt give an introduction here in a minute. Matt is one of the many people that are working on the project behind the scenes. Matt is an Oregon native, lives in Central Oregon near Bend. Had a former life at another firm that we've been working together here in Parsons, and actually I've known Matt for quite a long time. He did work for the city of Lake Oswego, so he knows what it's like to be on your side as well as being on the engineering consulting side. So he's going to give us an update on some of the field work, and I'll let Matt do the intro a little bit later on. So we'll just start with the basic background stuff. We'll get through the boring stuff quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to stop or come back to these things. I updated the cover slide since it's not foggy and gray anymore, but it's summer. So next slide. So just in terms of the presentation, a lot of the same things for today. Just going to go through an update on just the project management and oversight where we're at. So quick update on the dashboards, a couple key updates. Matt will dive into some details, challenges and successes. Fun to talk about that. And then I'm going to run through kind of structural evaluation update after Matt goes through some of the field work. So next slide. So just in terms of where we are, budget, milestone, just regular project update, about 34%. In terms of all the authorized budget. So you can see in the pie chart, authorized is not all the budget, it's just what's been assigned to do work. So of the work that's been assigned under contract, we're only 34% of the way through that work. So of all the funds that have been provided by ODOT, we're only about 15, 16, 17%. These numbers are through the end of May, so we're always lagging a little bit behind because just how the financials roll in. No issues. No major concerns, and we'll kind of share our findings so far. And then, yeah, we are on schedule for the work that we have in the contract currently. So no huge changes on this slide other than that we did update the budget. So in May, we added some additional geotechnical boring work. So that bumped the total budget in terms of work contracted out, and we'll go into details on what that work is and what we found. Next slide. This is another chart where we kind of show you where we are. So again, the orange dots are progress to date. And the blue sort of projecting out where we project we're going to be in terms of progress, both in terms of budget and percent complete and just scheduled progress. So again, nothing really crazy here other than, we're sort of in that steeper burn period of analysis of the data and collection of data, to be honest with you, field work. I did move the schedule out a little bit because we added additional geotechnical work, just a month in this chart. Next slide. No concerns. Next time we meet, there's actually going to be new tasks that we added beyond these 10. The geotechnical work we added was already under, like in terms of where we put it in the work, it's under task 3. So tasks 11, 12, and actually 13 are going to be new work items that we've added, and I'll explain that next time we meet. But
We won't have David at the July meeting, but he'll be at the August meeting. We've got some pretty good hefty lifting to do in the July meeting with getting the new commissioners on board, et cetera.
so next slide. No concerns. Schedule is really not changed much. I moved a few things. We did one just interesting thing. We, of course, we did install the structural health monitoring. If that's the what the industry calls it, structural health monitoring. It's kind of like monitoring your own body, but we're monitoring the structure. It doesn't mean the structure is unhealthy necessarily, but it's just how we describe it. So that vertical red dash line is where we are today, and it goes right through that structural monitoring system that's been in place now, and I'll explain the details. So nothing crazy here, just a regular update. Next slide. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to I put together these slides, and Matt's going to give a little presentation. And I don't know if we can see that on the screen or not. So rather than me do any kind of repeat of what Matt's going to talk about, I'll let him talk through the work that he's been in charge of that includes a lot of the field work. Matt, are you there and ready?
I am. Can you hear or see me?
Yeah, we can hear you for sure.
Let me see if I can share this monitor rather than the.
Yeah, while we're waiting for that to come up, Matt will explain a little bit about his background and what he's been doing, but Matt came on board and, we put him in charge of most of the field work as well as some other things. And
Just have to stop sharing that spot.
Maybe Matt, you want to go ahead and get started? We'll see your face pop up here in a second.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Matt Tipton. I'm a civil engineer from Parsons Corporation. David gave a little bit of my background. 20 plus years in the industry. I worked 15 of those years for the city of Lake Oswego. I've been in the private sector since, helping to deliver civil engineering infrastructure projects, mostly with a heavy focus on pedestrian, bicycle, multimodal, and active transportation projects. My roles on this project have been to coordinate and oversee the field work performed by Parsons and our subconsultants, as well as to develop some potential alternatives for the pedestrian connectivity at either end of the bridge. The update today I'd like to discuss with you is the work performed by our team over the past several months and the work that's coming up over the next few months. So with that, the work includes the topographic survey, geotechnical exploration, pedestrian and lighting analysis, structural instrumentation installation and monitoring, and the underwater investigations. So I'll start with the field work that has been accomplished thus far. We'll start with the topographic survey. Back in February, our project team performed both an unmanned aerial survey using drones and then a more traditional terrestrial survey that involved a ground crew. The aerial survey was essential to capture the bridge elements that would be extremely difficult or unsafe for a crew member to get to, whereas the terrestrial survey captures information that is difficult to impossible for the drone to get to. Examples of this would be under dense tree canopy, like the toll house area that the drone cannot see, also property corners, right-of-way monumentation, or underground structures such as manholes and catch basins that physically a person needs to lift the lid to measure down. Our structural team is using the aerial survey to create a set of bridge plans and a digital model of the bridge, while the civil and roadway teams are using the traditional terrestrial survey and in a number of ways that I'll explain a little further. So getting into that, the active transportation and the lighting analysis. So also back in February, our team made a site visit to get some eyes on the area and spend some time learning about what issues the port operations staff deal with on a daily basis. We took all of that information and are combining it with a survey to analyze the existing lighting both on the bridge and at the bridge connections. We've also used this information to analyze the existing pedestrian infrastructure, sidewalks, ADA ramps to determine compliance with federal ADA regulations and to study the feasibility of future pedestrian connectivity to, say, the Pacific Crest Trail, Wanapa Street, and of course, the crossing of the bridge. Currently, we're working on a report that will outline opportunities and constraints to improve the safety, efficiency, and overall feel of the Bridge of the Gods experience. Over the past few weeks, some of you may have seen equipment on site or the traffic control on Wanapa. We've had a lot going on out there. For starters, the seismic monitoring instruments. Last week, our team installed several gauges to measure strain on carefully chosen bridge elements. These gauges provide valuable data about how the bridge moves under load and how it will be used in our team's structural analysis. Honestly, this is not my area of expertise. So if you have any questions about this, direct you to David. I'm sure he can answer specific questions you may have. Excuse me. So from there, I'll move on to the geotechnical exploration. Over the past few months, our team developed a work plan for the geotechnical exploration that will aid in our understanding of the existing subsurface conditions that can have an effect on the performance of the bridge. We identified 5 locations. I'm not sure if you see the graphic right now, but there's one on the Washington side, 2 in the river, 1 in the parking lot below the bridge on the Oregon side, and 1 next to the toll booth. So these locations were chosen to be the most optimal for the analysis by our structural team. The past couple of weeks, the team successfully completed the borings for B1 on the Washington side, B4 and B5 on the Oregon side.
I'm sorry. One moment. You said 5 different places. We can't see if you're explaining something. So what page is he on?
Actually, go ahead and finish, Matt, and I'll show you. I'll bring it up on screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought we were going to have the images going at the same time, but it's fine.
That's okay. So go ahead and finish, Matt.
Yeah. Okay. So in order to perform this work, our team analyzed historical documents to determine property ownership where we wanted to perform the borings. We acquired a permit to occupy ODOT right-of-way for the area under the in the parking lot under the bridge, and developed a plan in the event of an inadvertent archaeological or cultural discovery. We also brought out an archaeologist to monitor the material pulled from the ground. And just to be clear, there were no cultural or archaeological discoveries, and the work proceeded as planned. So here are just a few high-level results from the work. B1 on the Washington side, the borings went, just a single boring, went approximately 200 feet deep. At about 130 feet, they hit bedrock consisting of approximately 35 to 23 million year old volcaniclastic rocks, referred to as the Weigel Formation. This was shallower than expected and is favorable for any potential seismic rehabilitation that may occur in the future. The bedrock was overlain by relatively dense landslide deposits of the Bonneville landslide, which I'm sure at least some of you are somewhat familiar with in that area. B4 and B5 on the Oregon side, again, the borings went to about 200 feet in total. At approximately 150 feet on this side, they encountered the Eagle Creek Formation. This bedrock consists of approximately 23 to 17 million year old sandstones and debris flows. The Eagle Creek Formation was overlain by relatively dense landslide deposits from the Oregon Shore landslide. At each one of the boreholes, the team installed instruments to measure ground movement and the presence of groundwater. Over the next several months, we will be analyzing the soil pulled from the boreholes and the data the instruments will be retrieving for us. Future work for the geotechnical exploration could include the borings 2 and 3 within the river. So, but that's still yet to come. With that, I'll move on to other future work that will be occurring in the river. The underwater scanning. We're close to initiating another element of our investigation that will fill in the underwater piece of the puzzle. This work will be completed in 3 phases. 1, bathymetric scanning. We'll deploy a crew in a small boat to scan the river bottom and areas around the bridge piers. We will use this to determine if there's any scour around critical support structures that may be detrimental to the piers. Next, we'll scan the bridge using sonar imaging, scan the bridge piers using sonar imaging. In addition to some very impressive pictures that this will produce, the data will also allow our structural engineers to model the subsurface piers and then tie the whole thing into the aerial LiDAR survey to complete the entire bridge drawing set that currently does not exist. So it's really vital for their work. And then the third element of this is the underwater inspections. We'll deploy divers to physically inspect the bridge piers, capturing conditions that may be difficult to see with the scanning and the sonar. Difficulty may be caused by debris in the water, such as nets, or even the remains of the coffer dams that were used to construct the piers 100 years ago. We expect to begin this work sometime in the early summer months. So that is essentially a recap of all the work that's been done and some future field work coming up. As you can see, our team has been busy gathering data all spring, and shortly we'll be turning a lot of this data into drawings, reports, and recommendations. With that, let's say if you have any questions, I'm here to attempt to answer them. David can also answer the more technical seismic monitoring questions, but feel free. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Just real quick, I'll bring up on the screen.
I think I have, yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's great. I am going to share a quick, this is. Oh, perfect. Come on. Okay, so what you're looking at is a drawing, and I'll just point it to it on the screen. So this is the drawing, and it's a combination of actual survey. So using the drone and the land survey of people walking around with the rod with an aerial in plain view of the Washington side. Yeah. And one of the things that Matt was talking about was in the top right dot, the red dot, the B1 location. That was our original plan, boring number 1 on the Washington side. We had 5 borings in all that were recommended by the geotech. That one was right next to a trench, and we had made an assumption that that trench was a safe place nearby, not right at the trench, but nearby the trench was a good place to put a hole in the ground 200 feet down, right? But through some conversations we had with the state of Oregon and Washington, we worked together with them to move it to this other location on the other side. So we actually drilled where that alternate location is located, and actually we went down 240 feet at that particular location. I'll explain why in a quick second. So this is just an example drawing, and we have lots of these drawings that are combinations of aerials and surveys. So Albert, that's boring 1. Boring 2 and 3 are in the water, and we elected to not do those now because I mentioned this before, those are expensive. So we're going to wait on that depending on the results of these 3 borings. The other 2 borings, one of them's right by the toll booth, and the other one's right by the pier that has a mural on it. So we call those D4 and D5. And you go out there and see them, they're totally protected now and plated over. They're just a round cover plate. There's instrumentation inside the hole. And the hole's also been grouted in. So
how wide are they?
The holes are 6 inches in diameter. So all 3 holes we bored, the ones on the Oregon side went down 200 feet intentionally. That was the plan. And then the one on the Washington side, we had some contingency not knowing how far we would have to go down to discover where the Montville landslide is. But we went down 240 feet. And interestingly, the reason we went to 240 feet was because we got good results up high, which kind of made us think, wow, we didn't really exactly know the geology over there. There wasn't really any information to know exactly where the Montville landslide sort of finished its path. But in going down, we actually discovered the landslide surface was higher than expected. So we kept going down to find out what the geology is below that location, so that we know, it's all about knowing how the earth will shape the bridge. Right, because the earthquake happens at depth and it comes up and it shakes the bridge. So knowing that geologic profile, we call it, answers that question. So in total, the geologic boring, I would leave you with this. We're doing the analysis now, but what we do know is the conditions out there are better than expected, which is not what we expected. We just didn't expect that, right? Like, we're talking about the Columbia River, the Bonneville landslide, but there's actually good conditions out there so far. Someday in the future, when it makes sense, we'll do the in-water borings, but that takes a lot of time and permits of the Army Corps and Coast Guard, and so currently the plan is to not do that.
Is the assumption that the Bible bedrock is more shallow on the Washington side and the Oregon side is more steady?
So the two sides are different, actually, to answer your question. So the Oregon side has its own geology, and if you want to geek out like I do and study the geology of the area or ask a geology friend, what happened on the Washington side that came towards Oregon is different than what's happening on the Oregon side that's sort of going towards the river. There are mapped landslide areas throughout the Columbia River Gorge, but right at the Bridge of the Gods, we don't have a mapped landslide on the Oregon side that indicates a major concern. But we knew about the Bonneville landslide, right? We just thought that it went really deep across the river, but according to our boring, that's not true. It actually came fairly shallow. By shallow, we mean 135 feet. So the borings map, how deep did the borings go down in terms of time? Like how far back in time did we go? Do you have that information handy? It was millions of years that we went.
Yeah, like 35, 23 to 35 million years on the Washington side, and then 17 to 23 million years on the Oregon side.
Yeah, great. Which is really useful information to, again, know how the ground is going to shape as it comes up. And the good news is there's a lot of bedrock below the bridge. And when you look at the old photos of the bridge construction, you can see all the large boulders that were part of the landslide, the Bonneville landslide, and that did not tell you that rock was shallower than expected. So
Didn't find any old bridges.
So you were
Very
able
old bridges.
you were able to not only see the landslide, but what it was like before the landslide?
the geologists and the geotechnical engineers together, yes. And later on in August, I'm gonna bring in what we'll call a geologic profile of the bridge. I shared one that was like our concept of what we thought was maybe the situation.
Mhm.
And we'll bring you, based on the actual borings, an updated interpretation. And we'll show you what is down 135 to 240 feet, but actually from ground surface down.
Mhm.
We went through what's called fill material, which is when they build SR14, what they put there. And then we started going into what we call native material, which would have been river deposits as the river kind of flooded and, kind of washed through. And then you go deeper and it's like, okay, this is like way back. And sometimes it's lava flows like basalt, which is the Eagle Creek Formation, we call it. It's kind of a rock. It's sort of a cemented sandstone, is actually below some of these, what I mentioned before, basalt flows that used to come through from like Idaho and Oregon. Now, I'm not a geologist. I just love to geek out with geology people to figure this all out. But yeah, we'll show you what we found and what that means for the bridge.
Cause I guess in my mind, I'm kind of thinking like a layer cake, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
say the frosting is basically just whatever's currently there, been
Yeah.
over there for the last couple hundred years, and then you dig deeper.
Yeah.
And that would be the landslide, and that would be like the first layer.
Yeah.
And there's gotta be something. Obviously, like prior to that.
Yeah.
Like before the landslide, so you guys are able to get all the way.
Yeah.
That's right, okay,
yeah, exactly.
and it's stronger than what we expected.
It is shallower bedrock than we had anticipated on both sides. Conditions are good. Another part of the picture is groundwater, so we have to analyze for groundwater conditions because ground makes the soil weak.
The closer I am to bedrock, the better my bridge is gonna react in a,
So,
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
a side effect of having less recent material and higher bedrock means less jiggle. when
less
there's an
jiggle.
earthquake?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I mean, if you I think
less
that-
material.
Yeah, you
so
slap the side of like
less-
a Jello dish and it just wobbles, right? That's like bad soil, right? You slap the side of the dish you put the Jello in, it's hard, right? So it doesn't jiggle. It's just a different kind of earthquake shaking and it's better for a bridge. So that's good news.
But how deep is the bridge? In reference to all layers you
Yeah.
talked about, how deep is the bridge actually?
The foundation?
Yeah.
Significantly shallower than that. We're talking it's probably 20 to 30 feet in the riverbed.
Below dirt level?
Yeah.
Soil level?
Yeah, and we didn't have time to share everything tonight, but I actually, next time we meet, I'll show you what we'll call an elevation of the bridge, where you see the piers and you can see how deep they are relative to the ground surface and the water. And actually the stages of construction, so you'll kind of have a more clear picture. We'll give you a handout for that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, could you redo the PDF? And we'll just kind of quickly go through the rest since we're going a little long, but I was gonna have good questions. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's a lot of great people helping behind the scenes. We had the drillers out. I went personally and talked to the geologist who's literally interpreting the dirt as it comes out of the hole. They log every bit of it, they send it to the lab, they get properties on the soil. And
Does any of it come out like a rock?
some of it comes out rock and then some of it's just like a slice of mud.
Will there be a rock? Is there a rock
Save
tube?
some, yeah.
Genevieve wants one for the
Save some
museum.
for the museum.
Okay, yeah.
Save the millions of years
Yeah.
old pieces for the
Yeah.
museum.
You've been in the tunnel and on the max line, they have that. How
Yeah,
far, you know.
yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, we talked about all this, Matt mentioned a lot of this. So I guess the next slide. The bridge monitoring is kind of what's coming, so Matt mentioned some of these things as well. And we'll just kind of go, I'll mention, so there's a few things on here Matt didn't mention, so we are planning to do a hands-on bridge inspection in September. And we are expecting and we're coordinating with ODOT because they are supposed to, by law, every 2 years do a bridge inspection. You have an IGA and our governmental agreement with them. They're supposed to come out every 2 years and do a hands-on inspection.
Is this a water year?
This is not a water year. That's once every 10 years.
Oh, I thought it was,
technically.
okay,
Yeah,
that was more often though.
yeah. And there isn't a lot of good data below the water line. So the underwater imaging, which is gonna be a side scan, the pier, like looking at it, like you're underwater and you could actually see the pier. And then the other one's gonna be mapping the river bottom under the bridge. And that will show us if there's any big scour holes, usually downstream of the pier. And then, so the other thing I'll mention is, so like along with ODOT doing their regular routine inspection, which is very prescriptive. We're gonna come out and do at about the same time if we can, if not close to it. A targeted inspection where we go figure out things that just aren't available in the plans. We have a drone video and cameras, but we don't know how thick that plate is or what that shape is. So we need to go out and like take some actual like hands-on tape measurement of certain elements of the bridge that we don't have. And then the right-of-way research, so through this process of the borings, we discovered what often happens on a lot of these projects, and that's right-of-way is complicated. There's old railroads, you know, state, city, port. There's a lot of different land ownership that the bridge kind of goes over, I think, and so we're doing a little bit of research on that. Next slide. Yeah, Matt kind of went the cultural resource route, but I'll just reiterate that didn't find it. So we didn't find anything of concern. We just did what is common practice when you do geotech boring, just to make sure we didn't discover anything. So nothing there. And then we were able to secure a pretty quick permit through it for the. We appreciate their support and help on that. That was great. Next slide. Matt talked about a lot of these. So the other thing that we finished is the installation of what we call health monitoring, we'll call data collection. So on the screen here are just colors to kind of let you know if you're driving by and you see something on the bridge, little devices. We attach devices to the bridge to collect data to understand the bridge's behavior. There's been a lot of issues with this Oregon spans over the years. Like we've had to do some work on it and there's been a lot of back and forth with ODOT in terms of it's long-term preservation. So we're collecting data and we're gonna use that data to compare to our computer models to calibrate. And we do have a local person here that's gonna help us out, Dennis Snyder, excuse me. Dennis has agreed to come out and we're gonna weigh some axles and drive some trucks over the bridge and collect a response from the bridge and calibrate our models and make sure that our structural computer models are matching the field conditions.
How long do you do the collection for, like 1 month, 2 weeks?
So we're gonna do it for more than a few months,
Okay.
right?
Out at the gravel pit, he has a certified scale,
Yeah.
so we'll be able to fill those up to know exactly what our weights are and get them on the bridge.
Yeah, we have we already have a digital twin of this bridge, we have a structural model. It's all math, right? But we want to use, the real world is always more complicated in our math models. So we're gonna use Dennis's trucks with known axle weights, run them across in certain locations. We do that mathematically and then we calibrate our models, which is really cool. The next slide, so there's just different kinds of gauges, these are strain gauges. And these red dots just literally are gauges up on the bridge now. And they're all connected to the internet, and so we can monitor live data real time on a web-based platform. So we'll dig into the details later on that. And then this is what the equipment looks like. Each individual piece of equipment is not really that expensive, but it just collects information like how much the bridge shakes, moves vertically, horizontally, and then how much does like certain pieces of the bridge like elongate or shrink. So yeah, next slide. And this is just a quick glimpse of what the web-based platform can look like. It's a lot of information for a presentation, but when you have it up on screen and you know what you're looking at, you'll be able to see, this certain weight axle came by at this certain time, and here's its truck configuration. But then we can actually directly translate that to this is how the bridge is responding to that load.
How much the bridge likes it, doesn't like it.
Yes. Yeah.
Use it.
It's happy or unhappy, which actually the end of that is what's the long-term life expectancy.
Right.
So that's what that.
Yeah, those pictures like they do with the European gauge where they got the happy faces.
Can you do that?
Cheers.
Yeah. Next slide. And then just a glimpse of one of the drawings. We have a whole drawing set now we've created with our drone scan and our knowledge of the bridge without the existing plans, right? We still have not found the plans. Next slide. And this is one of the drawings where we've actually included a photo from our drone fly through and like a high resolution photo. And you can see sort of side by side the drawing detail, which shows you how many, rivets and plates, and this becomes really important for us to be able to calculate structural things. Yeah. This is actually the wind block, which we'll get into later. But it sort of locks the main span over the river in place through wind. Next slide. Oh, and this is just a quick glimpse of our model. So this is actually just a computer program. So it's our digital structural model. The top is just like what we'll call just the model itself in 2D. And the one below it is just a very exaggerated view of what deflection happens from its own weight. We call that dead weight or self weight deflection. It's very exaggerated, but it's structurally, we can see the model working right. Next slide. And then we have a lot of analysis that we do where we figure out what's the force in each part of the bridge. So by having the drawings and then the structural model, we then can calculate what's the force, therefore stress in every bit and part. And this is just like a picture of kind of the output you see on the screen for like one really simple thing. So you can see the blue at the top, it shows you that the top is in tension. The top's being pulled on, and the bottom you can see it's actually compression, and then work together to resist load, and that's just how bridges kind of work and function. So lots of that. And then I thought it'd be nice to include this. So we have this point cloud of the bridge from the scan. And it's kind of the same view that you see in the structural model, so it's kind of nice to see it together. But this is literally like an actual scan of the bridge, and then when they did the scan, the drone actually picked up color, so it can tell you what's different surfaces like concrete, steel, water, rust. Yeah, you literally can calibrate it to pick up rust. And then next slide. Okay, so that's it. I'll give you a little sneak peek. I stumbled across some interesting information. I know I told you no more history, but I'll just give you this. I stumbled across the randomest thing, and it's a kind of a small world story because this week last Friday, my daughter graduated from Oregon State. And I just happened to stumble across the name of a person, and I stumbled across the Daily Barometer, which was the Oregon State student newspaper produced by Oregon State students. And sure enough, in there in 1925, there was a visit made by the Oregon State University civil engineering students.
Hmm.
And somebody from the Puget Sound Bridge and Dredging Company came down with the students. And the students wrote this in the daily barometer.
Oh, that's
Just
cool.
a couple of students went out with the bridge builder. And I'll just tell you the name. His name was Ray Murray. Was the bridge builder. We still don't have the plans, but every bridge has a designer and then a constructor or a builder. And so I'm pretty sure I know who the designer of the bridge is now. And it's just speculation because I haven't directly tied the individual person to the actual project. But the person's name, Murray Caldwell, and he was a bridge engineer in the state of Washington, and he designed all kinds of bridges similar to the Bridge of the Gods. Kind of a humble, quiet guy. And he did a ton of work for the Puget Sound Bridge and Dredging Company.
Very cool.
So I think I've identified the two key people, but there's no real record of like the drawings, which usually indicate who the designers were. So anyway, that's the little find, and it was found in
Yeah.
the Daily Barometer.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty
in the
cool.
paper. So that's it.
It'll be interesting with the data collection, how the marathon will be in the first week of August.
Oh, that will be fun. That is gonna be cool. Are we gonna have it? Will we be able to see that?
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what happens when you run 100 people across there, 1,000 people across there. That is gonna be kind of cool.
We will.
It's probably heavier than cars.
It definitely shakes in a very different way, no doubt.
Yes. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
We'll talk
Thanks,
next
David.
August.
Awesome.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Yes.
Thank you all.
Here we go. Commissioner comments and subcommittee reports. So, Mr. Dodd.
Let's see. I'll give an update on Easy Climb. So a couple things on Easy Climb. Northwest Airlines made significant progress on fulfilling or taking action on the grant that we gave them to build the jump line and skills area. I'd say about 80% of the work has been completed. Professional contractors are done with their portion of the work. And now we as in any and all the volunteers are waiting for moisture to come so we can do the final dressing up of the work. The boulders have been moved down and delivered. I was moved from one side of the fort down below. We built some rock features out there. So if you haven't been out there, I encourage you to take a look. And it turned out really well, getting a lot of positive comments on everything. And it's not even fully, dusted and fluffed. So that was really good. We ended up getting an added bonus donation from Crestline Construction to the tune of about $2,700
Wow.
for labor and equipment for them to actually do the transport. Originally, the pro builders were going to have to carry that over on smaller pieces of equipment. Instead, we were able to get Crestline to move that over, which allowed the pro builders to spend more time doing their work and really fuss with it. So it turned out really well. Yeah, getting a lot of positive feedback from that. And then a side little bonus to the building that area, that there's been some interest of people that have their own businesses of doing skills coaching, coaching and, for training other bikers how to ride. So they'll be approaching the port regarding getting whatever approvals to run their little business and doing that. So that's kind of nice as a side result of that. Moving on to the next thing, Lap Quest. It was the second annual Lap Quest Ride Challenge event. It's a non-race race kind of thing. So that turned out really good. A lot of people showed up for that. Ended up with a professional photographer out there that took some wonderful photos
Great.
that we can reuse in some
Awesome.
of our marketing if we want as well. And all ages were out there. We really just helped fire up the volunteers. It was designed as a community event, free event. And we had sponsors from Qdoba, which donated the food, and beer from Thunder Island and Gorge Brewing, and Goo Energy. So I mean, it turned into a pretty well done professional type of event for being a free event.
That's awesome.
Thrown on by volunteers. Climb Trail, switching gears to what's going on in the Forest Service land. As you probably remember, the Forest Department of, US Forest, secured a grant for $150,000. And so that's looking like that's going to be the main, funding that's gonna allow us to create a new parking area, for Easy Climb. Or not Easy Climb, but Climb Trail. So that's gonna be a nice continuation on that, progress, being made there. And
And will that include the restroom?
that'll be the restrooms. It's
Okay.
gonna be more rustic, so it'll be a gravel parking lot area with a full-on pit toilet, and probably a kiosk.
Cool.
But $150,000 only goes so far. The original design that they wanted to build was $750,000.
Oh, wow.
Paved and everything else.
We have one of those.
Yeah, you know what those are.
Those look like.
So yeah, that's hopefully if everything goes well, that will be done probably this fall, winter.
That's awesome.
Right for the determination of that grant allowance. And then there's also Northwest Trail Alliance is tracking the users. We have a few sensors out there. And so probably in the next few months, we'll be able to share some data over a spanning of about 6 months. But what I've seen behind the scenes is a huge trend up. And then also I'm monitoring what's going on from the feedback on different social platforms from bikers and just getting rave reviews, and people are starting to call the Climb Trail a destination trail, which is nice to bringing bikers and other recreational users up to this area. We've also seen a big uptick with all the excitement that we've done at Easy Climb, a big uptick as it relates to use out there. At Easy Climb with families. We've seen groups coming together as an informal training of youngsters. You know, you're talking grade school and high school level riders out there doing stuff. So it's really neat to see that energy as well. So a lot of good things happening.
Do you know if are we all the way to Wyeth Campground yet? Do you know if we've got people staying there and getting on the trail on the Wyeth Road from that side, from the east side?
Yes, so right now people are accessing the Climb Trail in two different ways. One, they're accessing it from this side where I'm trying to train people to access the trail system from this side, so it kind of makes it easier for them to come to Cascade Locks.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that are accessing it from the parking area near Wyeth. Campground. So you have the Wyeth campground, and then you have the State Park campground, which was actually designed and built to service the Columbia Historic Highway paved trail. And we're seeing a bunch of people parking there, riding in on 400 and accessing the Cascade Locks. Or the Climb Trail. So it's neat. It's neat that they're approaching from both locations, which is great. And it actually distributes riders to a larger area. But I'm really anxious to get our new parking area created, because I really want to continue to drive people closer to Cascade Locks for post-ride beers and things like that. But even the people that are going to the Wyeth are actually still cycling or cycling, making their trip into Cascade Locks as well. So I've been hearing a lot of feedback, and then you probably noticed a lot more vehicles with bikes hanging off the back of the cars. So stuff like that. So
awesome.
Been really positive that. And then also as it relates to Wyeth Campground, I've heard that it's hard to get a reservation now at Wyeth Campground, because there are people that are coming to ride the trail that know that they can camp there and ride directly from the campsite. So
is that through recreation.gov?
That's where you get the register. That's where they would reserve to the forest or recreation.gov scheduling service. But I've heard a lot of folks doing that.
It's great.
And it's been pretty cool. So good stuff. Positive stuff coming up. And of course I could talk and talk. So
well, thank you, Ted. Amazing work, you and all the volunteers in Northwest Trail Alliance. We appreciate all your work. So tonight's my last board meeting. It's been a pleasure to serve this community. I just want to personally thank the board staff and my fellow commissioners that have grown and learned with, and respect every single one of you guys. Also, thank you, David and Parsons, for helping us better understand our main asset, the Bridge of the Gods, and getting ready for the 100th anniversary next year. So and then as for me, I'm going to continue with the Downtown Association, more work with that. finish up my MBA, and then eventually after my shoulder surgery, maybe get out on the trails and go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just, did you have your surgery on that shoulder already, or are you?
Yeah, so I'm done with all the surgery now. I had my left last year and my right this year, so.
Cool.
Getting on the backside of that.
3 months or so,
You're like a new man.
yeah, so.
Great.
It's been an amazing experience with the Port of Cascade Locks, so again, I want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you for your.
I'm gonna open by saying it's gonna be a bummer that you're not around anymore. A lot of people don't know this, but you were actually the reason that I even got interested and started declaring my candidacy for the board. So
Oh, I didn't know
thank you very much, Rob. And it's best luck in all of your endeavors. A couple of things that I have. One, I went to movies in the park last week. It's put on partially by the port. Most of it by the port. It's actually in the Marine Park. If you guys ever have a chance, you definitely need to go. It is super cool, super fun, and being
Isn't there
able
one
to
at
watch a screen and watch a movie while the sun goes down and then the trees are all just waving in the wind and you just sit up there. It was rad. It
Yeah.
was amazing. And then whenever the sun finally went down, to be able to look up and see stars up above you while you're watching the rest of the movie, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The hosts were great. It was all good. So definitely, if you have a chance, get out there. It starts about 8:30. Get to go see.
Is that going on tonight?
Yep, it's going on tonight.
Which movie is it again? Or
So here's the thing, they don't tell you because they do a little trivia. You have to guess what the movie is. If you guess it before the movie starts, they give you,
or something.
yeah, and they give you a little prize.
That's cool.
It's not a short circuit, the one that was filmed.
You'll have to figure that out yourself. Two, I was trying to look for it, but the grant program, I know that we had something on the calendar to talk about that. When is that scheduled?
Yeah, was that July something, our workshop meeting?
July. And speaking of July, since we're not gonna meet before it, I would love any and all updates about July 4th. Sure. And what that's gonna look like. I guess you'll do it during executive stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the main stuff that I have. Once again. Happy trails. We'll still see you around.
I'll be around.
Yeah, so I'll echo that as well, Rob. We really appreciate having had you here. You know, once you've been in this type of service, you'll probably go on and do other things because it gets under your skin. We have one guy now that's running for state senator who started right here in Cascade Locks because I bugged him into getting on council. And,
Nice.
you know, then he becomes a state rep and now he's running for senator.
Nice.
But yeah, it gets under your skin, but we really appreciate having you here and your involvement was great and you will be sorely missed.
Thank you, Brad, for all your mentorship.
And Easy Climb Trail, fantastic. I did my part this week just because a couple downed trees and I, of course, got a hold of Ted. Let Ted know, hey, got a couple downed trees on the south side of Easy Climb. And Ted sent me a map because he was already on top of it. And then I forwarded that on, ran into John down mowing and just told him about it and then had to get a hold of Jeremiah and apologize because I'm not jumping the, you know, chain of command
there.
Just I did tell John about it and he said, you know, Alfonso would go down and take care of that. And the next day, the trees were gone.
Same day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Willow tried her best, kind of try to drag part of that tree out of there, you know, it was a little past her capacity, but no, we've been down there every day about 8 o'clock, 8 or 9 o'clock and doing the south side Easy Climb. And my grandson went down, he's a 6-year-old, and they did also the south side Easy Climb with his little mountain bike and had a great
Nice.
time. And
Yeah.
said the younger people are getting down there, parents are discovering it's a great place to take their kids and run some energy off and that sort of thing. As far as meetings, I had a regional McKed meeting this last week. We met at WKO Lumber and had some good reports from staff. Apparently said eat pears this year because the ag person said the pears are a bumper crop this year. Last year they got really down, so the prices were high because up in Washington they had almost no crops. So anyway, prices were really good. This year prices of pears are way down because production's way up. So that means eat pears because they're both very available and very reasonable. Also, the people from the lumber industry, as part of Maquette, said they are closed SDS plywood mill, but so they laid off 81 people. However, I think 57 of them were rehired because they're expanding in their other two operations. WKO is expanding its plant because it's more automated, and then their other mill, I can't remember where that is, but anyway, they basically, and some of the people that did not take jobs were of their own choosing. They kind of said they were going to go try something else. But so anyway, they did replace most of those staff people, but just like everything in the gorge, things kind of go up and down sometimes, but it's nice that most of those staff positions got hired on at the other places. But other than that, just summer's here. It's great. Seems like the town is very busy this year. It'll be exciting to see what happens, as the summer progresses. And went to Joss's graduation party this week. It was great to see all the activity there, and high hopes for what she's going to be doing. She's going to Gorge Community College, right?
She is, yeah.
And it's exciting.
Mrs. Nance.
She was a little disappointed though. She said, she's staying in the dorms and she's but all but one of her classes are online classes, so she's going to be sitting there in a dorm room on her computer. So,
I think that's changing. She's about to change up her schedule a little bit.
So anyway, yeah, that's all I have. I'm excited about what we'll be doing in the next year or so, and we continue to have a great, both fantastic staff and all of our volunteer commissioners and everything are all excellent. Rob will be missed, but I think Travis will do a good job of filling in your spot. Appreciate everything we're learning about the bridge. It's exciting, and be neat to see those reports on the seismic analysis and all of that, and the health monitoring of impact that vehicles have on the bridge. So that'll give us some good tools that we need to make decisions about the future. So anyway, that's all I have. On to the executive director report.
I'll start with tag team events a little bit, and parts we'll do it after that.
Okay.
We'll tag team events a little bit. So since we last saw 2 weddings, 6 other types of events. We had some funerals, some birthday parties. I know she's got 2 weddings this weekend, and then something else too. Can't remember what it is. It might be a birthday party. Prepared
They did the Trails College.
That's what it was. Trails College. Thank you. 7 venue tours, and then we hired Nikki Adler as a seasonal event staff. So she will be helping Janetta set up and tear down and clean up, and a number of different tasks to help take some of that burden off Janetta. So she's starting to get amped up on that. I know that there's been some long nights for moving picnic tables and everything else. So and then we'll talk a little bit about 4th of July. Genevieve has been making some calls, and we've been sending out letters to get our donations for that. You want to give some shout outs?
So we have a main stage sponsor, which is Neil Creek Portable Sanitation. Thank you to Neil Creek. They're sponsoring the music at the stage, and their sponsorship will pay for the live music. I'm blanking on the name of the band. Bohica. So we'll have live music there. We split up the tiers for 4th of July, where we also offered 3 spots for a playground sponsor, and we have filled 2 of those spots with Umpqua Bank and Bike the Gorge. And then we had 5 available spots for smaller sponsorships, and Hood River Supply has grabbed one of those. We're still looking for our main event fireworks sponsor. So if you know anybody who is looking for that kind of visibility, have them call me right away because I'm about to make posters and banners and put everybody's logos on them. So we're excited about that. Really cool to have community businesses show up and try to make, our fireworks show really, really special. Janetta has, I believe, 15 vendors. You got that?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and then also thank you to the city. So their budget has been approved, adopted. It will be adopted on the 30th, but it's going to include $5,000 again for this year's fireworks show. So they continue to be a big partner for us. This little event grows and grows every year. Seems like it's grown more underneath Janetta's leadership than it had previously. So the park will be open as normal. People tend to funnel in that morning. We have some groups that have been coming year after year after year after year. They usually get there early and stake down their space. The night before, we'll open it up to the vendors to come in and set their carts up. She's got 14 total vendors. She has Thai food, Mexican food. She has ice cream, coffee, Killis coffee, Dippin' Dots, popcorns. Brigham's going to have a stand down there. The crazy coconut lady, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like coconut. Mount Hood barbecue will be there, churro. Then there'll be a couple of vendors selling jewelry. I think the gentleman that had the rocks or what you call that, but rock collection, rock collections. There'll be jewelry. Bike to Gorge is going to be down there. So he's going to have a tent set up. He's going to have some of his bikes down there for people to check out. We don't know for sure yet. We're hoping that we're going to be able to have the fire department stationed at the intersection. We'll always have our staff down there sort of directing traffic, but down there with a fire boot. So hopefully we're getting some donations for the fire department. Yeah.
Will they have overflow parking in the elementary school fields?
We do not have the parking lot reserved for that. So
Someone was talking about that yesterday and having a nonprofit organization take that over.
we would absolutely love that and would support that. And my kids have every year they're like, dude, we could have done that.
And that would involve asking the county.
The school just you have to ask the school. It's real simple.
There's a couple of different nonprofits that were talking about that last night at I should have mentioned this, the event, Sloth Pig.
Oh.
That was put on by the History Museum, over at Orchard's last night. So a couple of folks have mentioned that. And while I've interrupted, one other thing, speaking of the fire department and the port, we've volunteered you, Jeremiah.
Oh, good.
There is a big giant basket that is currently at Buddy's and it's a raffle basket. It's worth $550 worth of stuff inside of it. It's all specifically around 4th of July. There's a couple of you gotta be 21 and older is the only thing I'm gonna say. But all of that money is gonna go to the fire department and the EMS.
Cool.
And so what we talked about is actually collecting as much as we can at Buddy's arcade until July 4th, and then on July 4th day, bring that to somewhere within the park to collect additional money from people that are visiting because of July 4th.
Kathy called me today. I'm working on it. So
Yeah, very
that'll be
cool.
great.
We'll have you or someone
Yeah, cool.
say, hey, come support our fire department.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
And we can have announcements during the day from the stage. Yeah.
Exactly.
We expect it to be a big 4th of July. Last year we were down a little bit in numbers, but it was on a weird year. It was like a Wednesday or something, and it was still busy. This one's the campgrounds already sold out for the entire weekend. We had a number of vendors who were like, "What if we just stay put for the weekend?" We're like, "Okay." So we have a couple of vendors that are going to stay put over the weekend and try that out. Let's see what that's like. Maybe we can have a couple additional vendors that make some money down there. So that one's a little bit of a test case this year to see what happens out there during the 4th of July. You're just getting traffic down the bridge or down in the park. Fireworks will begin at dark. We never know when that is. It always feels like it's later than it's supposed to be, but they'll begin at dark. It's a long day for our staff, super long, specifically maintenance. They get there very early in the morning. You'll start to see fences go up. They have it down to a science. They're the last ones to leave. Getting people out of that park is a trip for sure. We will over in front of the port offices, the second port offices, the main port offices. That'll be coned off, available for staff and commissioner parking. It'd be awesome if you guys could come a couple times during the day. Right? I don't expect anybody to park it out all day long because that's a long day. But if there's time during your day for you to come down, meet some of the vendors, maybe get on the microphone and welcome people. We'll
that'd
have
be
parking
really
that's
cool.
available that allows you to get in and out and not get stuck in that mess. So we'll have that. That'll be in front of house 2. That's 4th of July. Any questions about that? We're excited. Should be good.
Jeremiah remembered to order the fireworks.
Me too.
Good, that's good.
I did remember it.
I do have a question on, about other events before you move on to the next.
Sure.
Yeah.
I saw on social that, we have a falls board, the fall version of the, waterfall run.
Yeah, that's
This is
just
first year, right?
Yeah, it's first year. It just kind of came together. Jeanette has been talking about it for the last 2 weeks in our staff meetings and been like, hey, I think we're gonna get this. I think this is gonna happen. And so, yeah, it's in November, man. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't be more excited about it. So, yeah, she kind of been teasing it with this, that she thought she was gonna lock that deal down, and she did. I saw it pop up today. I was like, hey, this is the one, right? She's like, that's it. So,
You know, I always thought that would be a good advertising thing for, you know, wash off your week in the gorge, and you got somebody standing under Dry Creek Falls. The scene from Beaver Bend.
So it's a single day race, a little bit smaller, but you know, typically our events here start a little bit small, and then every year they build and they build and they build. You kind of got to get out here and see what it's about, figure out how the port works. So it's definitely something you could see that would, I mean, you know, Lap West is like that, right? It just continues to improve.
Campground reservations as well, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Parker is off today, getting some well-needed rest. He spent a fair amount of time in the booth lately. Wanted me to give a shout out to his guys, which is well-deserved and doesn't just come from him. I think it comes from everybody at the port. We've been talking about it a lot lately. It's just how good the park looks right now. Like from the grass and to everything else, but we just did the parking lots. We just lined everything. They just cut down all the banks for the 4th of July. Like even out in the business park right now, like everything is just on point. It's a constant battle, but there is sort of a moment here where you go, ah, we did it. And then it starts to grow back. But at the moment it looks spectacular. So shout out to our maintenance department, Stephen, John Blackwell, Alfonso, and Cole.
And Tom.
Transfer switch project is complete. They're doing some testing pieces of it now. Finished the sod project in the pavilion. I don't know if you saw that, but there's a tent there, and that tent for a number of years, like it just got worn down there, turned into like a dirt pit. And then a couple of years ago, Todd filled it with sand, which made it a sand pit. So this year we cut it out and we filled it in with grass. It looks great. Super pretty down there right now. And the weddings have appreciated it because when they rented it, it was a sand pit. So to come and see grass, they were super happy. House 3 shower install is complete. There's doing some painting and shelving in there. That opens up some super opportunities for House 3, which is definitely something we'll tackle after this season. We're gonna have to sit down as a group and put a business plan together and talk about what that means for the future of events. It's a big addition for that House 3. Clean and pressure washed, repaired and straightened PCT sign at the Bridge of God, just trimmed the hillside, which I love it when the hillside's trimmed. I wish we did it all the time. It's a long day. It's a long day. Like they go out there and they're all day long on the side of that hill, right in front of
slow.
awful. They also installed the staircase rail, which is something that was recommended by both Genevieve and SDAO. So I had never seen it before, which is crazy.
You miss it unless you're like,
yeah.
oh, wait.
So at the top or at the parking lot before you go down into where the fishing spot is, sort of where the bridge is, off on the right hand side, there's this clearly part of the old locks, but this like steep staircase that goes down like right into the lot. Have you seen that? I've never seen
It's on
that.
all 4 corners there.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Anyway, so we put some railing in there in order to
Keep the toddlers out.
Keep the toddlers out, right? So I think that's
Okay.
operations you want to do.
Okay.
A quick question on,
Yeah.
on this one. Question on PCT shower. Any update on how that's going? Is it open?
It is open.
It's open, it's
It
working.
It is open. It is being used.
Yeah.
And it's being used, but not abused.
It is being as of
Knock
now.
on
It's
wood,
open
right
and
now,
being
not
used,
abused
not
yet.
used.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got all the portables out distributed in all of the spots in the park and
and I think I think we learned a lesson this year too, that's going to need to come a little bit earlier out in the business park, just based on the amount of traffic that we're seeing out on the climb trail even earlier in the season. So
Yeah.
those used to come out in June or maybe May. I think
It was late June.
Late June.
Previous years, and
Yeah.
then this year is first part of June, probably May.
Probably May. Yeah,
First
I think
May,
you're
but-
probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about when I started saying, hey, you guys need restrooms out here.
We've also seen, I don't know if anybody's been out to
Save
Easy
grass.
Climb lately, but where you guys did some of the work out there, and then just generally it's been a problem area for us. But where the boats put in right there, it's kind of a wide spot at the top. And then it's from the work that you guys did, it sort of turned into a little bit of a mud pit. We're gonna go out there and level that off, fill that in with gravel and turn that into more of a parking space. Because right now it's being used that way anyway. So we thought we'd put the work in to get that widened out a little bit right there when you're driving in just before it goes into the split and goes around the circle.
Oh, yeah.
People park right there on the right-hand side because that's where they put the water there to go into the
Right.
beach. And so it's getting used as a parking spot. It's getting torn up as a parking spot. Yeah, so we're gonna fill it up and level it out and put a sign there that, says, hey, pay to park here, and make it the parking spot that it already is, but at least have it look like it's supposed to be.
For the admin update, shout out to Carrie Ann. I think the first 15 bullets here on your list is, June, July every year is sort of the paper pusher Olympics. There's all the renewals, there's all the updates that if these things fall through the cracks, we're really in trouble in the middle of the year. So kudos to Carrie Ann for crossing all of our T's and dotting all of our I's for these really important things, especially that SAM renewal. Thank you for doing that. It's really important for our eligibility for federal funding, and it's a nightmare if it lapses. Let's see, I'll go through my list here. Just let's see. Do you want me to talk about the travel stipend and the PERS thing, or wait
Yeah,
for that to wait until okay. So we've been working on, like I said, all of our insurance renewals, which that's workers' comp, our health insurance, our bridge insurance, everything. So there's a lot of work going into that. We have been working a lot with MCED now that all of our grant awardees, their projects are underway and some of them are actually wrapping up. We're starting to work through the reimbursement process and the reporting process. And so working really closely with Jessica and Alan on processing all of that, and just sort of dealing with this demonstration phase of our fledgling grant program and making sure that it's successful. It's really exciting. These projects are starting to be completed, and we're seeing the beneficial impacts to those businesses. So that's really great. Let's see. We did receive word today that we were not approved for our Travel Oregon grant. We had applied to the competitive grant program for $100,000 for the pre-development tasks for the campground. And got some really great feedback from them. Really, it came down to us not being shovel ready. They want to be quote unquote the last dollar in, not the first dollar in. So they want to see all of our permitting done and reapply for the actual shovel money, the construction money when we get ready for that part. So that's great feedback. Right before we heard the no, we received a really wonderful support letter from Rip Helfrich for the project. So we're going to recycle that letter when we apply again for construction money if we do in the future. Working a lot with streamlining our financial, especially on the accounts payable side, but also on the accounts receivable side. If you've spoken with any port tenants, you may have heard that we have changed the way that we invoice for monthly rents, and we're moving that into our bill.com system, which we moved all of our AP into bill.com last month. Now we have our AR going into bill.com. It's syncing with our QuickBooks. There's still little glitches and tweaks that you always have to fix until you get the machinery running perfectly. One of the biggest glitches and tweaks yet is trying to get the PERS reporting to work for us. So we're still working on that, but it's kind of a struggle. Let's see, fireworks, we did that. I think that's everything I have except for our business update. We do expect the auditors coming in next week. And they'll be working with staff and Marina and Co both to get the second of those 3 audits done. So that's really great news. And Jeremiah's been busy with answering questions, millions of questions for that. And I think that's all that I have for now.
Couple questions I've got.
Yeah.
On operations update, it says brief 4th of July security team flash coast to coast. What's the coast?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So we hire security for that event. I think that's the name of the vendor is Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
It's a new vendor for us this year. So we've just been doing some due diligence on that. And we like to have a relationship with them before the event. Usually we've had in the past where they show up and it's like, okay, this is the wrong kind of security, guys. So ours is a lot more low key. We want them walking around. We want them to talking to people. We want them to be able to show where bathrooms are and like have a safe, calming presence versus, we're all in black and walking around. So a little bit of relationship building there between Parker and that team.
You don't get the Hells Angels.
Yeah. One thing I did forget on the grant front is we submitted our final report for the Oregon State Marine Board grant for the beautiful asphalt overlay, seal coat, and striping for the boat launch. So if you've been down there recently, it looks so brand new and sparkly and beautiful. So we're really proud of that one. And kudos to Parker for working with the striping crew on getting them here. After we had some folks sort of cross our work zone barrier and park in the work zone, we had to delay the striping a couple of days. And so it's all done and it's better now.
Another quick question on the admin update. Worked with Bradcom on adding museum and pavilion to the network. Does that mean the Wi-Fi is gonna be good?
So yes, the Wi-Fi is going to be good. We have
Very good.
We have fiber in both the museum and the pavilion now. So it'll be good for meetings that are happening there in the pavilion. That was something that's been a struggle with us. We actually, who was out there last? I can't remember.
The Travel Oregon for the tribal.
Yeah, we struggled with that out there. But really that's for a security project that we're putting together. And at the next meeting, I'll talk more about that in executive session, the security work that we're doing around those two pieces.
Cool. And did I also see some electrical work being done to light up the sign for getting down to the marina? Or exactly the sign?
I don't know that we've done any electrical work there. We did electrical work bringing power to the stage. So that's an update for us. We've had bands out there before and they have to have generators. And so that kind of, that's a bummer, right? Listen to the band and a generator. So we brought.
Probably get a solar type device out there to do the lighting.
Yeah, potentially.
On the entrance.
But we have talked about trying to get power run to the entrance sign to get some lights up there on the Extapa sign so that it can be seen at night. That project hasn't been completed yet, but we're looking at it.
Small.
I'll give Jen gave a little bit of the campground update that we didn't get the Travel Oregon grant. We did publish the RFP, and I'm sorry if you said this already.
No, I didn't.
We did publish the RFP for the comprehensive land use and real estate investment plan project. So that piece of it is going to come together, right? So that is going to add another layer for us to be able to take forward to get further grants once we get farther along. Obviously, because we didn't get the Travel Oregon grant, we're going to have to tap into some of our own 2.4 when it comes to doing some planning and some campground design. So although we didn't get the Travel Oregon grant, we're still going to be full steam ahead on moving forward on this campground. Our first step today, she sent me, we didn't get it, and an hour later, we have a listserv with all the ports in Oregon. So reached out to all the ports in Oregon and said, hey, listen, we're going full steam ahead on the campground. What projects have you guys been involved in? Tell me about who you used for your campground. Send us over any previous RFPs that you have, right? So me and Jen and the rest of the team trying not to reinvent the wheel, being able to look at the other projects that folks have done and say, all right, how much of this can we just bootstrap ourselves? And how do we keep this thing moving forward? So always in the background, looking for that next opportunity to stretch the money with a grant, but this is a hurdle and a step we've got to take ourselves. Otherwise it's stop and look for another grant, and to everybody's chagrin here, that means wasting more time. Not that it's wasting time working on a grant, but if we don't get it, then it feels like wasted time. So we'll keep moving the needle forward. So at the next meeting, I'm probably going to suggest that along with the work session that we're doing around the grant, that we extend that out and maybe make it closer to 90 minutes to 2 hours and tackle the grant, tackle the campground, bring back the information that we've got from the other Oregon ports that have done these types of projects, get some information from Darren. We can talk about the infrastructure that's already out there, let you guys do a little bit of brainstorming as well as visioning of what you guys see. I'm going to need to meet with each one of you individually. I happened to I was out there with Ted and ran into Brad, so we've both kind of done that. But we need to go out there and walk that area together so that I have at least an idea of like, where do you think the campground goes? And where do you think the entrance is? And what do you see of this side over here? So that when we come and have that visioning, there's a little bit of me being in the driver's seat where I can be like, all right, I know Ted thinks this, I know he thinks that, and we can sort of set that up. So
we get some aerial pictures that had the surveyor's map along with the actual aerial photo, so that when we're, so we've got some simple maps of the thing. It's like, we'll figure out what you want to put where. Well, unless you have numbers applied to those lots and how it might be divided, then you don't know whether each lot's going to be half an acre or it's going to be 5 acres, because you really have no frame of references. How much area do we have here? How deep is this from this side of the road to here? And how many, how's that all look as far as parking and that sort of thing? But I think Darren would be able to
do some of that.
But it'd be nice for us to be able to take our little, drawings or pictures and be able to,
Happy to
make some of our own ideas about it.
donate my drone time as well.
There you go.
Nice. And that will dovetail, that session will dovetail, that's probably about the time whoever wins the RFP is gonna want to sit down with this commission anyway.
Yep.
Right, so that'll probably
We're hoping to
dovetail
start
pretty
early.
well with that real estate and development plan and investment plan. And for them to get an idea of what you guys envision out there anyway. And they're gonna help us with the planning when it comes to getting the zoning changed, to getting the partition plat done on that piece of it. They're gonna talk about all our properties, but definitely within the RFP, we pointed at this as being a major project for us, so.
Yeah, and the important part about a lot of that design is not just gonna be, where's a great spot for our campground, but how does that dovetail with other
Yes.
economic investment opportunities for private investment, and how do we leverage the magnet that campground is going to be to create other types of supporting services that, whether it's a deli and a gas station, whatever it is, mini mart, a bike rental, kayak rentals, other types of camping equipment, things that would dovetail nicely with people who are there recreating.
Exactly.
They're gonna need to, fix a patch on their bicycle,
Yeah.
so we need to create opportunities for private investment that's gonna be a driver for development on the east side.
Yeah.
So I've been obviously with the port for 2 years now. We've done a lot, but we haven't done a project like this. I think something that would be helpful for me, and you've done a lot of these projects already, so it might not be as good for you. But maybe for Ted and maybe for Carrie as well as Travis, but kind of having a roadmap of what to expect and what we need to get in place, so we kind of know what the steps are. Because we've been talking about it for a very long time, and I still kind of don't know what's step 1, step 2. Obviously, a lot of that will be done by whoever wins the RFP, but a lot of it also has to be done by us.
Sure.
So I don't necessarily know what those steps are and how to help and how to prepare
Yeah.
before we have those conversations. Because it's a lot better to come to those difficult conversations with already ideas in mind, than being like, cool, now we have to decide on this, and we're like, oh, okay, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have some sort of process or flow that I understand,
Yeah.
so I can understand how to best help in that situation.
And it's gonna be a big thing, because if we, envision what we wanna see and how that might work as far as commercial lot in conjunction with campground area, that sort of thing, it's all gonna drive the type of zoning and how those lots are divided so that it can be developed and sold or leased as pad spaces separately,
So we get great info like this, but then I forget it. So
that was,
Yeah.
and with all grants, that was a bit of the roll of the dice on this grant, which was, right, like, if we happen to get this is perfectly gonna line us up with a group of individuals who are gonna be able to come in and lay that roadmap out for us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get that, there's a fair amount of it that, like you said, we're gonna have to do that ourselves.
Right.
Good news is we have a great team here, and
Right.
but no one in this room is a professional at building a campground. Ted's probably close with his trails.
Yeah.
But no one here is professional at building a campground. But that's basically sort of next step today, right? So that was the first step, is like every other report, show me what you got.
Right.
So
Yeah, the
yeah,
work
I mean, I've
doesn't
done-
change, the
I've done-
funding source does. I mean,
Right.
it's.
I've done huge, enormous projects in the, private, in like my professional sector, but never as a governmental entity,
Yeah.
right? So as we know, it's much slower and there's a lot more paperwork. So that's why I want to understand.
And also,
But a lot of
and a lot of stakeholders,
Yeah,
right? And so that's the one part we want to make sure we absolutely get right.
I helped name Pioneer District in Portland.
Oh, yeah.
We worked with different businesses, worked with the city, we worked with, I don't know, probably 100 different stakeholders. And that took over 50 meetings
Yeah.
to just settle on a design and a name.
Yep.
So I understand that stuff,
Yep.
but I want to know how it was for us.
Yeah, and I mean, as an example, how long we've been working on the climb trail, Ted? Ted,
15 years.
15 years.
15 plus
And we're
years.
just now sort of getting to the finish line, but still, some of the big wins to come. So I'm not saying a 15-year campground by any stretch of the imagination, but
Yeah.
like it does
Because
show
10
you.
of those years, it was pretty much just on hold, waiting for the government, the federal government to get off their ducks and do their part of it.
We have far less partners involved, which is good. We have funding in place, which is good. So we have a lot of things in our favor that will make this move at a quicker pace. A couple more things on my executive session meetings, Hood River White Salmon Bridge Authority meeting. I've been attending those, starting to watch sort of what that transition looks like and how that project is coming along. I think in the future, there'll be some conversations that we have around tolling. Not sure how that's going to work at the Hood River Bridge now that they have moved to all electronic tolling, what that means for future tolling with the new bridge, what that means for good to go passes. So we're watching that close as a staff, keeping an eye on that and how that could potentially affect us with the breeze bypasses. Met with the mayor. We now have a standing meeting once a month. She comes in and keeps me up to date on everything that's going on with the city. I continue to meet with Jordan regularly, typically before these meetings, to be honest. That's why I was a little bit late. I apologize. But I know it's a big step for them to get their budget complete, and they're going to be bringing on a new lineman, as well as whatever the name is, but basically someone that oversees any electrical projects that we do. So really paying a lot more attention to what is the biggest moneymaker that this city has. So that's exciting. I'm happy to see it. Was able
to do Captain Tom Day.
What's that?
The Captain
Yeah,
Tom
and the Captain Tom Day thing was super successful. That was a lot of fun. It was a great way to connect as a community. It was a great way to keep Bernard's bucket brigade continuing, like the great thing that he came up with. I have my own bucket and thing. I went out the other day on a walk and I'm out picking it. I feel like I'm part of the brigade.
See?
And then, of course, Captain Tom came and gave a speech. It was a nice way to send off Alehouse as well. She had a good weekend, got to see lots of folks. So that was fun and successful. We're thinking of what we do next year for Captain Tom Day. It's always going to be a celebration of service and finding a way to do that. Maybe it's continue with litter pickups, or maybe it's something else, but keep that in mind as you move forward. But thank you for everybody who helped with that.
If you want a Captain Tom pen, I had 4 left.
Hang on to those things. They become collectible items. And then Buddy's Arcade was also a sponsor of that project as well. And offered free video games to the kids, and it was a great night out. It was fun. Made it to the PNWA conference, summer conference up in Bellingham. I would love to tell you I had a great time. I really didn't. I got a super bad headache the first day that I was there. I missed the most exciting part, which was a boat ride out into the Sound, which was a bummer. I was super bummed that I missed that. It was sort of one of those things where if it had been at like a hotel, I would have gone, but I'm like, I'm on a boat, man. There's no getting off. And so unfortunately, I missed that piece of it. I did get cornered by Neil and most of the staff from PNWA with a really hard push. So we've been doing a lot of work with our legislators, meeting with Merkley staff and federal legislators as well. It's getting around that Cascade Locks has a bit of a new vision here, as well as a new identity. And they're wondering why we haven't started to push harder at the federal level for some of the things that we need. And again, it was intentional. Took a small break here to work on stuff in-house, reintroduce ourselves to some of our legislators, talk about what your guys' priorities were and how they differed. But we're probably at that step now where we need to start talking about our trips back to Washington, D.C. It's something that we've always been very successful at. We're probably one of the smaller ports who do it, but this port is always punched above its weight because of that bridge, and it's something that we need to continue to do. So me and Genevieve and Danmar, we'll start looking through our list of projects and seeing where we think there's an opportunity for us to look for federal funding and to have an ask to go to Washington, D.C. But it's something that is probably going to be on the horizon this year. Every year I put it in the budget just in case somebody gets a wild hair. It's like, we're going, right? But it's looking like this year we probably need to go. Dan's not been in Washington, D.C. at the federal level for a couple of years now. He's been keeping his relationships warm there, but we need to send him back, and we need to send some commissioners back, and we need to go back and have a strong ask and a strong thank you for the work that we're doing currently on the bridge, right? And show some of that stuff off. So we don't want to lose our step there because we have always been successful.
Just so you know, we won't be flying first class like Port
Clam.
Everybody, and they fly first class every time.
We don't have that Port of Kalama money.
No.
Yet. Bridge of the God celebration is moving forward. You'll see here later on that we want to add a new member to that. Also met with Jason Wakunis, who heads up PCT days. It is looking like the direction that Bridge of the God Centennial is going to want to go is to hire a promoter and an event planner to take over that event. So it wouldn't be surprising if that's something they send down to this commission as a recommendation. So look for that in the future. Also, take a small pause to acknowledge Rob in his final meeting with us. We have a time-honored tradition here presenting you with a gods.
I hope I didn't break.
Flyover, which Rob predates me just like Brad does. The first port meeting I ever went to, Rob was part of it. We also have.
Oh, all of us.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, let's do that.
Now, Photoshop.
I'm the guy behind the scenes.
Should we do it in front of the
The
flash?
flash.
We don't really think about.
There you go. We'll make this look proper.
There we go. Give it a couple of notes.
Brad doesn't even have one of those.
One of the pictures?
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's the same artist as soon as you're.
It is. He was here a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You come back and be a commissioner again and another.
Yeah,
Two of them.
Yeah.
And here's your
Position by office and lots of mud.
Straight to the freezer.
There you go.
perfect.
Glad I trimmed my mustache. My son says it has not, I said it has attitude. He says and latitude.
Rob really does predate me here. The first commission meeting I ever went to, Rob was in the audience. He sat on a number of the different subcommittees that commission was a part of. Some of the most in-depth conversations I had about the port was with Rob before commissioners were talking to me, because they didn't talk to me because I just worked at the bridge. So if there's anybody who can attest to the good work that this commission has done to move the needle on a lot of the things here that needed to change, I think Rob can attest to that. So lots of good work this commission still has to do, but I think it's worth acknowledging the last 2 years and the effort you guys have put in to make some major improvements. I think this campground that we're about to tackle, we're in a much better position than we were 2 years ago to tackle a project like that. It was a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, and we have
That was part of the holdover philosophy.
and now we have something that is very specific, very dialed in, a strategic business plan that keeps us focused. Albert likes to say, away from the side quests, right? And so I think we have a team now that is capable of tackling that, not getting distracted by the side quests. So Rob, thanks for being a part of that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Now we got a meeting to get to.
All right. All right. Business action item. Retiring transportation stipend.
Go ahead. Okay, let me get to where. So, I'll just do a little background on what this is. Back in 2019, the commission did an update to a transportation incentive policy that modified the prior policy that waived tolls for Washington state resident employees. And they made it in 2019 so that the new transportation incentive applied to all employees regardless of residence and status. And at the time, I think this was something that they saw, Brad will remember, as a helpful recruitment tool for hiring. We're currently not experiencing that level of difficulty in hiring. And this is along with the PERS reporting process, this is the barrier to getting that to a 10-minute process down from a 3 to 4 hour process twice a month, because it reports differently to PERS as income, and we have 20 employees, 2 of them you don't report it, everybody has different amounts, and it's making it take a lot of time. And we just don't see it as a needed recruitment tool at this
Something
point.
that Matt's done, Genevieve has done really well. It's taken a lot of systems that we have that have not talked well, and getting them to where they all speak well. Sometimes there's an Excel spreadsheet in the middle that's doing all of that work, but being able to take something from here, import it, drop it, take this, import it and drop it. Now this spreadsheet does what we need it to do.
Yeah.
Which was once 3, 4, 5, 6 hours is now 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, chicken scratch.
Lots of
Right,
great work.
right. So kind of weighing the accounting burden for that benefit, and the need to provide that for our recruitment purposes, staff is recommending that we end that process and take the amount that each current employee is receiving and incorporate that into their regular salary, so that it's no longer reported as a separate payment that has to be accounted for in a separate way. And we're recommending that we end that program for all new hires going forward. It's just kind of a simple sort of cost benefit analysis, and for finding out that it's costing too much time to provide this benefit and might not actually be needed.
But nobody loses it. Everybody's grandfathered in. Shouldn't affect their bottom line. But we won't be offering it to future employees.
When will this take effect?
July 1st.
July 1st.
If you guys move.
If you
forward.
approve.
Why do we have to pay?
I
I get that report.
Yeah.
Over there so many times. Just a day.
Oh, man.
It's actually a pretty fair question.
I'm okay with retiring that second. Let me see.
I don't know if we have a recommended motion that or not.
There's a recommendation at the bottom of page 12 that you can use for a motion if you'd like.
I move that we approve the salary increase for all current employees equal to their current TIP benefit and discontinue the TIP program.
Second.
Great, there's a motion second.
Do we want to discuss anything?
Yeah, to get rid of the tip program and put that into their salaries.
Mhm.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Approve proposed museum collection and stewardship agreement.
Here in front of you, you have the museum collection and stewardship agreement that is put together by Ports Council Tommy Brooks. It's also been reviewed by the city. This transfers ownership of the museum collection to the port away from the city. This will fall underneath our SDAO insurance. We will have them come out and take a look at it and see if there's anything in there that they specifically feels like needs to be documented. Right now, the city is spending about $400 a year on it. So some really cool and interesting things, but not necessarily anything that's of huge historical significance or value.
Circa 1963 Girl Scout uniform.
Nailed it. Super interesting.
Super interesting, yes.
The transfer that ownership cleans up a problem that we've had for the last couple of years that we've been working on. which is how do we continue to support the Cascade Locks Museum. So now we will be able to do that through this. One thing that we can point out that the city requested be in here is that if we were to ever to sell or want to dispose of the collection as a whole, we actually have the right to remove things from the collection as they need to be, right? They fall apart, they're old, or if we have anything that there's any requests on from the tribes or anything like that, we have full rights to do that. But if we were to want to sell the collection or long or maintain it, the city would have the first opportunity to have it back. So that was one of the requests.
Anybody want a stuffed animal with bugs?
The Bobcat.
Yeah. One question about the collection, is the Oregon Pony part of that, or is that on loan?
That's on loan. So the Oregon,
question.
it's a great question. The Oregon Historical Museum owns that, and it's on loan. We actually have to sign a thing every year that says we're going to keep it one more year and we're going to keep it in good condition inside that room, and then we have to pay insurance on it. So there's a cost associated already with the museum and part of its collection, probably the highlight of its collection.
Yeah.
So
That's one of the questions I have is three questions. What's the motivation for the city giving it, wanting to get rid of it? What's their motivation for doing that?
sure.
Other things is what is the cost that we're gonna incur to now manage and own it? And what kind of liabilities do we potentially face by taking?
I don't think that we face particularly any liabilities. Janice has done a good job going through that collection and returning anything that was that was tribal back to the tribes. So from a liability standpoint, not a lot. They're already inside of our building, right? We already offer them, we already give them free lease. So any operational things that the museum already does, we're sort of already taking on that risk. The city's motivation to getting rid of it, that's probably a fair question that I don't know that I could say is any more than we didn't have any way to help fund that museum other than to take over that collection. So I think they were looking sort of from the standpoint of if the port is not continuing to provide funding to the museum, where is that funding going to come from? And it's just something we couldn't do unless we own the collection. There's a number of great organizations that I would love to just give money to and say, hey, great, you're doing a great thing for our community, for our whatever. But there was really no path to just fund the museum. The grants that we offer, they're great, but they don't do operationals and they can't be renewed every single year. So there really was no path to continue doing what we've always done without taking over that collection. The city didn't provide any funding to the museum other than free electrical and free water, I believe. I think they provided free electrical and free water. And that was their contribution as well as the insurance. So this wasn't anything that ever really cost the city a whole bunch of money. And I'm sure there's a long history of that collection, maybe has it always been a city collection? Okay, it's possible.
Will that continue after potentially taking on the collection, and we'll get free water and electricity?
I do not believe so.
So our path moving forward to some degree is, we're still figuring out.
So
what that looks like exactly.
So I mean, generally,
the next logical step towards.
Generally, we've continued with giving the money museum. I would give them the museum money every single year, which you get used for operational costs. Last year was the first year where I was like, we can't just keep doing this. Like it just doesn't work. You can't spend public funds like that. Like I get why they were doing it. I think it's great. I think it's great that we're doing it, but I put the brakes on it and the commission agreed, like, we got to figure this out. The commission also came from the standpoint of like, we have to continue to have and support the museum in this town. So figure it out. And this was the solution in order to be able to do that. We will now go to the Friends of the Gorge Museum, which is who employs Janice. And we will say, we own this collection. We would like you to manage and maintain this collection for us. We have $30,000 to $40,000 to do that, which is typically what the museum needs every year to make up their gap between fundraising, right? And so that's what we've always been, is we've been that gap filling of what they couldn't get out of fundraising. So we'll have an agreement with them now as a concessionary agreement with them, not a concessionary agreement, a vendor agreement, basically.
Or a service agreement.
Thank you, service agreement with them to provide that service for us. They were just never providing a service that I could find a way to give them money. Now they provide a service. The collection is ours. So very little changes in what we were doing. It's just the correct way to do it.
And so the Friends of the Gorge, is that a sustainable funding source to fund it?
So Friends of the Gorge Museum operates off of funding from grants, from fundraising, and then donations, us being one of those donations previously. And now will be us being actually paying for the service of caring for the collection. So is it continue to be, is that one that will continue to remain in business? And we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Museums typically don't make money. So Janice's work to go and continue to get that to operate on grants and fundraising, that's typically almost every museum. Like those gaps have to be filled.
So
And then if it was to go away, that would become a port liability.
If that were to go away, I mean, I would have a collection and no one to maintain it. So then the question becomes, what does the port want to do with that collection?
Is there a?
But that question was already coming very quickly with the city. If the port doesn't fund this, what does the city want to do with the collection? And the answer was going to be, they don't have one.
So in the coming years, it's not like we don't have ideas, but once again, similar to the campground, it's a process of developing. How do we get the museum to a point that it's more self-sustaining? And we have ideas that we're currently working on. As far as they haven't happened yet, still ongoing conversations about that, about how in the long term will this be structured. This was kind of just the next logical step to make the future moving forward. Otherwise, in the next year or two, the museum will cease to exist because they're running out of resources and ways to continue to fund it. So we have to get it to a footing where it is a more self-sustaining model. So
this commission was in a bit of a rock and a hard place. You guys were going to be the one that saved the museum and figured out a solution, not knowing what that solution was going to be, or you're going to be the ones who didn't fund this, and the museum was, no matter what, it was going to be a tough situation. So what we bought ourselves now is an opportunity to figure out what can be done with this museum, what can it be combined with? Is it a gift shop? Is it moving it into a city information center?
Yeah,
a visitor center? Does it combine with the visitor center? Like, what things can we do that we also go, oh, and here's a cool museum in the back, right?
and that's kind of what we're working on, is the idea of visitor center combined with a gift shop, somewhere more on the beaten path. We're kind of currently still working on the potential of it being in the old hardware store. Nothing is for certain yet, but trying to structure some sort of model, perhaps work something with tourism where they're paying for the visitor center. There are other possibly other business in there as well that helps fund that building and create more of a destination. If it's right on the beaten path and it's part of a visitor center, more people will come in.
And certainly nothing is for sure because it hasn't come before this commission yet. So right now, these are all ideas and conversations and things that I'm working through to find something that's reasonable to bring back to this commission. Each one of you are more than welcome to meet with me individually and talk about this project and this problem that I have and offer your guidance and solutions and ideas. I look for that mentorship from each one of you as I work on this problem, because it's a problem I don't have a solution to yet. So it isn't that anybody's being left out of this. There is nothing yet for me to bring back to you and say, I have this solution.
Very similar to what happened with the Green Building. It was a long, heavy lift, and Jeremiah did an amazing job taking the best of the bad solutions and working them out. That's kind of where we're at with the museum at this point. Is we want it in the town. I think it could be continue to be a nice addition if we make it more visible.
But to work it out, we need to own the collection.
Yes, next step.
One question about if we assume the collection, does the grant writing process fall more on the port to seek out, or will the people who take care of the collection?
They will continue, the museum will continue to
Continue to do it, so we'll
they're-
have to take on.
They're in a better position to do that than we are. We're the owner of a collection, but not a museum ourselves.
There isn't like really a big opportunity of heritage grants for the port to apply for it directly on behalf of the museum?
I mean, there are definitely things that we can partner with on it, so it never hurts. I don't know that it makes us a stronger partner than we already were to own the collection. We were already a pretty strong partner. We give them the building to be in, like we're already a pretty strong partner. This doesn't make us any stronger of a partner. It also really doesn't change status quo at this point for the foreseeable future. You can take that for what you think, but how far that is out, definitely through this season, it's gonna be in-house 3, in-house 1. It's gonna operate as it's always continuing to operate. The collection's gonna remain the collection. I'll continue to go to port meetings, to museum meetings. Carrie will continue to go to museum meetings. We have a vote on that board. We've always had a vote on that board. We'll continue to have a vote on that board. So not a lot changes, but it frees you guys up a little bit to do some stuff that before there was another partner, which was the city. So if you guys all of a sudden said, hey, we see this is how that fits, this is how it works. And I had a board of 7 people you had to go to and get them all on board with it. And that cleans that up a little bit for us.
On the just community wide on the grant strategy, if we can envision a collective grant strategy, it really helps that we have the 2 government entities so well aligned along with the state partners. But then with Main Street, we have a 501c3. With the museum, we have a 501c3 partner that opens up just so many other opportunities that the port and the city could not really go for. Roundhouse is a perfect example, Ford Family Foundation, perfect example. And Janice knows those programs up, down, and sideways. And so, it's sort of arranging strategically our partnership roles to where if one of those 501c3s is applying for a large grant, maybe the government entities, especially the port, could be part of the local match, part of, the letters of support, or even part of the, help in the planning. But sometimes the lead applicant being the 501c3 with this strong local government backing is the best scenario versus us being the lead applicant. So
there's a lot of good conversations that are happening with folks who are involved with the tourism committee, folks that are involved with Main Street, folks that are involved in the museum. We have a lot of synergy, which I hate to use that word, but we have a lot of synergy and a lot of like-minded people on where the city should be going, the port and the city should be going at this time. Main Street certainly put themselves on the map in a big way by getting that $400,000 grant. And us being able to see the opportunities that exist there. We have to continue to build that program and be as helpful as we can there. We have the tourism committee, which has a ridiculous amount of TLT dollars that are coming in. We have a DMO professional in Janice who operates the museum and runs the information center for the city. So right now there's a lot of moving pieces that somehow feels like could come together in a way that we're more efficiently spending those funds. And we have a lot of heads right now, but it feels like we can come together in a way. And I don't have the answer.
Commissioner that knows something about advertising.
Right.
But that's exactly right. I mean, as a community, if we have in all of those different jurisdictions and all of those different sectors, the expertise level is coming up, the cooperation level is coming up, communication is coming up, that's when those big grants will come in. And it's, when there's less of a fight over who's the lead applicant, and where, anytime I get a chance to say, hey, like the restroom grant for the climb trail. We were the lead applicant for the trail, but it was the Forest Service that was the lead applicant for the bathroom, and that made sense. And we worked together to help them. So those are relationships that we should, repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And every time we get a chance to partner with a nonprofit entity that's separate from our city county government matrix, it's going to be great. I mean, the more the better.
Is there any? Oh, go ahead.
I definitely agree that the collection needs a home, and I think the port is best to take this on, and exciting to see new third-party nonprofits starting to grow in the community where they can also help bring in future funding and continuation of preserving our collection.
Yeah. Is there any deadline that we need to be aware of? Like, can this wait for a future meeting?
I would like to get it approved under this budget. The city would certainly like to because they have some costs associated with it, like the insurance. They'll have to maintain their insurance for a year. I'd like to start this fiscal year. I mean, it's in our budget this year. We got $40,000 set aside for the museum. It's either 30 or 40.
I think it was 40. I feel like it was 40.
It's 42, 30 just keeps coming to mind. So it won't be July 1st that we're writing a check to the museum. You guys will be seeing this in another meeting where we come and say, all right, this is what the scope of work looks like that the Columbia Gorge Museum, Friends of the Museum are going to do in maintaining our collection. This is where our $40,000 is going, which is the correct way to spend public funds. So, but it's definitely something that I would like to see move into this year, starting this next fiscal year. And be able to move forward knowing that that's now a thing that we maintain and have. It's our problem, right? It's our problems.
So now that we're doing all the discussing when we weren't supposed to, I will move to approve the museum collection and stewardship agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion second.
Do we want to talk anymore?
Thank you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Because this is what we're supposed
Good
to.
job, Robert. Rules of order. Yes.
We're supposed to frame the conversation with a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then if it doesn't get seconded, we don't even have to talk. We can just keep going.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion second. If there's no further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next. Consider approving resolution 2025-5, resolution by the Board of Cascade Laws Commission transferring budget appropriation between departments and in 2024-2025 budget there. Sorry, I'm back.
Hold on just a second.
18 and 19.
Do we need a resolution for a budget transfer?
Yeah.
Do we have a resolution for them? No. Oh.
We did.
We can bring it up on the screen. We can review the resolution.
Can we
Have a recess.
skip down to we can skip to D, come back to C.
Okay, absolutely.
Can work on that.
Point Laurel Duggedy.
You see,
God's Centennial Celebration Advisory Committee.
Laurel's been attending the meetings. She does not have a vote on that subcommittee because she does not officially sit on it. The recommendation has come down from that subcommittee to this commission to add her as a voting member. If that's what comes before you guys today.
Would we like to entertain a motion?
I'll move to appoint Laurel. I do not know.
I don't know how to say Laurel's last name either.
Nego.
It's Laurel.
Laurel, I apologize.
Yeah, sorry,
I don't know
Laurel.
your last name. I move to appoint Laurel Negodi as a community representative to the Bridge of the God Centennial Celebration Advisory Committee.
Second to appoint Laurel as the Centennial Celebration Advisory Committee. All those in favor?
Well,
now conversation about that.
Discussion.
So in your reading, there's an overview of her qualifications and the reasons she wants to be.
And it's my understanding the rest of the committee. It's a fair assumption that the rest of the committee wants her part of it.
They accidentally voted her on before they realized that they couldn't do that. So yes.
Yeah, I'm in support as well. I'm abstaining from the vote because I'm actually on the board of the Main Street. I mean, that was my support, it's really great assets.
Actually, unless you're gonna benefit from, it, we don't consider half of the things. Sure. Unless it's benefits you.
She did recently become the president of the Main Street Cascade Lodge, which is probably going to take up a lot of her time. Very, very soon. Is she also on board with this?
She is. I walked out of the room and came back and they're like, hey, we voted Laurel on. And I was like, wait a second. So yes, she's been attending. She's been an active member. She's very excited about it. She has some ideas for things that Main Street can do in conjunction with. So there's been some discussion of like, hey, the port's role in this is going to be very specific. If there's other things that other organizations want to do, we're really excited about you guys piggybacking on that. So she has some ideas about that.
But is the as a community representative, but is there a conflict of interest? He is support employee.
These are the conflict of interest because she's not a important employee. She's not an important employee. She's not. He is. She's been in. Oh, she's a contract. Oh, yeah. So she's not an important employee.
Yeah. Good luck.
And this subcommittee only is allowed to vote on recommendations that come back down to this. So any sort of recommendations that came down eventually end back up here for the entire board to vote on. Okay. It'll basically allow her to vote on things that they want to recommend to you guys.
Great qualification, clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, she has numerous years of nonprofit board activities as well beyond Main Street. So,
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Sorry about that. Missing,
Laurel.
we'll go back to see.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
consider approving resolution
Did Rob still
2025-5.
Okay.
We're looking for you guys to approve resolution 25-5. I apologize, it's not in your packet, but we do have it up there, up above. It can be passed by name only. We don't have to read it. What we did is we're moving some salaries from the campground, the commercial buildings, as well as the marina.
You mind scrolling down so we
Yeah.
can see the budgets?
Yep. It's also in your packet. It's just that the resolution is not, is all. So we're moving those over, we're transferring those over. I'm sorry, Matt wasn't here tonight. He's on vacation. But we had 25,250 in campground, 25,250 in commercial properties, 25,250 in the marina, and moving those over to general operations because that money did not get spent out of there like it was supposed to. We were supposed to be paying, if maintenance worked in the marina, part of their paycheck was supposed to get paid out of the marina. If they worked in commercial properties, some of it was supposed to get paid out of commercial properties. They got paid all out of operations, which will put us over budget. So this will come back and make sure that that money gets moved over into the bucket that it belongs into.
Just moving the numbers, no real change in anything.
No, this is the same budget you guys passed, just with the money in different locations. And this is fairly typical of a last meeting of the year. There's going to be some budget adjustments that need to be made. It's not typically adding more money as much as it is. And we could get in situations where we need to get into contention for a reason. But typically, if it was something like that, we would know it at the time if there was some major expense, and we'd do that at the time. But as we start to finalize the numbers, we can see things like this. So it's not unusual for there to be a couple budget adjustments in the last meeting.
Sounds like a repeat of my day. What do you mean it was declined? I got
We'll use this card.
$1,000 in my other account.
I move to approve this budget transfer by resolution in accordance with ORS 294.463, maintain compliance with Oregon local budget law to ensure fiscal transparency.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second to what you said.
Yeah, with the, now that we can discuss, I like that we're doing it officially. So I guess the two questions, one, is this the only one that we have when we're coming up to reconcile for the year?
Yeah.
We've done
Congrats.
that's pretty good.
We're a little chagrined that you
We
even
did
have.
another budget adjustment previously in the year on when we purchased we did the warming shelter.
Right.
So that was a budget adjustment we did. We didn't see that one coming, right? So, and that one we saw right away, that's just gonna throw us out of budget. This particular one, we started to go back and, $1,000 over budget, $2,000 over budget, you go, oh, okay, well, somebody got more overtime than we were expecting, but this one was considerable, and we're like, where'd all that money go? And it's like, oh, we haven't been paying it out of this pot, so that made sense.
So what it is the 75,750 that we're over in general operations. We're basically just taking it from those others.
Correct.
And is that I guess my question is, was it that clean?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
It's salaries is one of the things that's pretty easy to budget.
gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Will this help us from potential future audits like we're going through right now?
100%. Yeah, well, I mean. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you guys said no to this, we would have an emergency meeting beforehand and we would pull it from contingency. I can't turn in a budget that's over budget, like, I can't.
Gotcha.
So our budget has to balance.
Right.
So one way or another, we would need to clean this up. If you guys said, no, that money stays there, it's your fault, you didn't spend it out of there. Then it'd be like, all right, well, now we have to go to contingency, pull that money out, put it here. So one way or another, our budget has to balance at the end of the year.
Gotcha. So this is it, huh? Is that cool?
Okay. If there's no further questions, all those in favor? Aye. Those, motion passes. All right, if there's nothing further to come before this commission, I'll adjourn. We're adjourned.
The town right there.
No one, good job.
Good job.
Hayden McCurry stuck out that whole thing.